Hello there guys! So for today's video, I'm going to be telling you all about how things have changed for me over the last year since going vegan. I've been getting requests for this video since about 6 months in, just asking for like how things have changed, mostly health-wise for me. But I really wanted to wait until I was at least a year in so I could really give you guys an overall idea of how things have changed for me, whether positively or negatively. I'm going to share it all with you guys today. If you don't know me, my name is Arianna, and August 15th of 2018, our family decided that we would go completely plant-based on that day with our food. So we started out as just plant-based. I did not refer to myself as vegan in the beginning, even though the ethics side of things was of interest to me. Even before going plant-based with my diet, I was already following like not buying things with animal cruelty, not buying things that had animal products in it unless it was used. I personally don't have an issue with that. I was already kind of following that. So once I, gave up the diet, to me, it made sense for me to, be vegan, but I wasn't ready yet to call myself vegan. Quite honestly, because the vegan community on YouTube is scary. But a few short months in and I was like, no, like I am vegan. This video is really just gonna be talking about the health side of things. If you want to hear my story about why I became vegan, or why, we decided to try plant-based diet for health reasons, let me know down in the comments and I can talk all about that in a separate video. It would be a video in and of itself anyways. But today I just want to talk about how things have changed for me, whether positively, negatively, things I thought might change but didn't. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. So like I said, in August of 2018, we made the decision on the 15th to become vegan, but we gave ourselves about 2 to 3 months to transition because especially having young kids, I wanted to make sure that I was doing it correctly. They have already proven and shown that a plant-based diet is perfectly healthy for all stages of life. Breastfeeding, babies, kids, the elderly, pregnancy, as long as it's being done correctly. Being plant-based definitely does require a little bit more knowledge in the foods that are on your plate, which I don't think is a bad thing anyways. I think no matter what you're eating, you should have knowledge on the nutrients you need to get, because quite honestly, people are deficient in vitamins whether they're vegan or not. And so that was something that I really wanted to be careful with, because you have to know even more knowledge when you're going vegan, especially with kids. And so I gave myself 2 or 3 months to really figure it out before we like went full on. So I'm gonna answer the question that I get asked the most, and that is like weight loss related questions. So the first off, something different with me is we went plant-based while I was pregnant with my third. I was about 20 weeks, I think. So I started off my pregnancy at 185 pounds. I ended my pregnancy at only 188 pounds. Now I want to fully disclose that I was being followed by a nutritionist. I had gestational diabetes during my pregnancy as well. And so I was being watched closely with the food I was eating. I never lost weight, and so because of that, my doctors were perfectly fine that I only gained 3 pounds. I was just losing fat because I should be ideally around like 130, 140 according to my doctors. So it was just because I was eating healthier. Prior to being vegan, I didn't eat healthy. I ate a lot of dairy. I was never huge on meat. It's always kind of grossed me out, quite honestly. I was vegetarian for a very short bit in high school. So I really only ate chicken, but I ate a ton of dairy, like a lot of dairy. I ate candy all the time. We ate out all the time because it was pretty easy to eat out when you're not vegan. And so because of that, I had gained a lot of weight. 3 kids in, and I wasn't taking care of my body. To make a long story short though, I started out my pregnancy, like I said, at 185. I ended my pregnancy at 188. I didn't weigh myself until a week after I gave birth, and I was 175 at that point. I was 10 pounds under my pre-pregnancy weight a week after giving birth. So after giving birth, I had lost 13 pounds at some point within a week. And then quite honestly, over the next several months, I just kind of stayed stagnant. No matter whether I was like being a junk food vegan or I was being a really healthy vegan, my weight it just kind of fluctuated between 171 and 175. And that is though probably because I don't lose weight while I'm breastfeeding. So I've been breastfeeding this whole time, and some women, they just like melt off the weight or they hold on to it. I tend to just hold on to it. Some even gain weight. But I tend to just hold on to weight when I am breastfeeding. So I kind of just thought, like, oh, that's probably what it is. And I figured after I started like breastfeeding less, I would probably at that point maybe start losing weight again. And I was correct. Over the last month or two, I have started to slow down breastfeeding with my youngest because she's coming up on a year old. She's just naturally slowed down. She's eating more food. I'm sorry, the light is so bright. I feel like my face is blown out. So with that, I started losing weight again. So I started, like I said, 185. A week after giving birth, I was 175. and now I am 167. So in total, since going vegan, I have lost about 17 pounds. I definitely still have some weight to lose, and I keep losing it since like slowing down on the breastfeeding. It has just kind of continued to drop a pound or two every week or so without changing anything. We'll move on to some non-scale victories now. The biggest one lately has been my jeans. I finally had to buy a smaller pair of jeans because all my jeans are falling off of me. And then also, this was like a night and day difference. Like it literally was like a light switch. My anxiety, I actually noticed a huge difference. Over the last couple months, I'll say I have had quite a lot of anxiety come back and some depression, though I think that some of that was postpartum depression. I have PTSD, so you know, that comes and goes. And then life has been a little bit stressful over the last couple months. But when I first went vegan, literally almost overnight, it felt like my anxiety like dropped it drastically. You know, like I said, I had pretty much transitioned over fully before like start date, and so I noticed that if I would eat something randomly in that like time period before we actually like officially made our start date, that very next day I would be like full of anxiety. Now all of this is just personal to me and then what I have noticed. You know, correlation does not necessarily equal causation, so take this as you will. I'm not a doctor, but these are just some things that have been different for me. One of the things I did not expect was my hair. So my hair is like super long. Prior to going vegan, my hair never really grew past like here. So as you can see, it's like way down there. My hair got super long. And on top of that, I always grew up having to wash my hair every single day. I didn't have a choice. It would be super oily if I didn't. And since I went vegan, and I tried so many things, mind you. I tried the no shampoo method with like baking soda and vinegar. I tried all different kinds of shampoos. I tried bar shampoos. I tried all different things and nothing would ever work. And then I went vegan, and all of a sudden I could skip a day, and occasionally I can go 2 days without washing my hair. It's a night and day difference. Somebody woke up from her nap, so we're gonna finish this video with her. You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? Yeah. So to end out with the positive stuff, I wanted to mention that I have had all of my blood work ran, all of my vitamins, everything has all come back really great. And the reason I actually had all that pulled is because after giving birth to her, I was diagnosed with a blood clotting disorder. Now it is unrelated to veganism in a way, possibly. I'll talk about that in a minute. It is a genetic disorder called protein S deficiency that I have had since I was born. It's a genetic mutation. Now the one thought as to why it's never bothered me before, my hematologist said it's possible, maybe, is I have the connective tissue disorder, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Very commonly, that disorder causes the opposite issue where people are hemorrhaging and stuff. They bleed more easily. Now, if you give someone with EDS a protein S deficiency on top of it, which causes too much clotting, they could kind of like cancel each other out. There's a possibility that with going vegan, my body has been able to better handle my EDS, that my protein S deficiency has kind of like won a little bit more. So that is just like a possibility that my hematologist said could maybe be what is happening. So yeah, we don't like fully know why it just showed up, but it's not like actually because I went vegan or anything like that. So there was one particularly negative thing and a few things that I thought would change that didn't. So the first one being dandruff. So yes, I feel like, you know, as a kid, that was always like the embarrassing thing to have, dandruff. But it happens, you know, some people get it. And I honestly haven't had it since I was like in middle school or something like that. But since going vegan, I have been continually struggling with it, and I don't know why. My only guess is that maybe it's possibly because, you know, my hair, it used to be overly oily, so I didn't really ever deal with that. And I never used conditioner before, because if I would use conditioner, you know, you're told only put conditioner on your ends. That's what I was always told. And so I would just put on my ends, but it would make my hair even more greasy, like it would make it worse. And so I just stopped using it, and that was kind of the answer to at least getting my hair to not look greasy at the end of the night. And so now I'm wondering if maybe I need to do conditioner, but like I said, I was always told only put it on your ends. So if I'm not putting conditioner on like my scalp, is it really gonna help? I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe I'll try like a co-wash shampoo bar that's a shampoo and conditioner in one, and see if that helps. I've tried like doing some tea tree oil in my shampoo. That does make a difference. But I don't like putting tea tree oil on my scalp that often. So if you guys have any tips, or if anyone's gone vegan and you've personally experienced like that change and figured out why, let me know. That's really been the only like negative thing that has been a difference for me. Now, there were a few things I was expecting to change that didn't. One was being acne. I thought like, oh yeah, everyone says when you go vegan your acne will clear up. That didn't happen for my husband or me. So my husband has always dealt with some acne. That didn't happen for him, and it didn't happen for me. But with each pregnancy, your hormones shift and change, and I have noticed now that I think it's all just hormonal, because I break out right when I ovulate, and I break out right before my period, which basically means I'm breaking out most of the month. So I thought that it was due to like eating sugar, because it seemed to line up. Like if I would go on like a sugar binge eating day, I thought it was that. But then, you know, I would go on sugar binge eating when I was like right before my period, because, you know, you want a little sugar. But then I realized it's actually right before I ovulate and right before I get my period. Another thing that I thought might change is getting like a lot more energy. I feel like I have been able to get up in the mornings, and I'm not necessarily falling asleep at night, but I don't feel like it was a night and day difference. I'm not any more tired, definitely. Like I said, I feel like maybe a slight difference, but I always heard a lot of people say like, oh, I have so much energy now. And it could be, you know, the difference between when I'm eating or someone else is eating. I'm also not like a snacker throughout the day. But for me, like, it hasn't been that big of a difference. Very, very minuscule, I would say. So the question is, will I ever eat meat again? No, I will not. I'm not gonna eat meat again. I'm not gonna eat dairy again. I don't feel the need to eat animal products. I just don't. Of course, also for me it is now ethical too, but health wise everything has been fine. All of my vitamins, I don't know if I ever went back to that, all my vitamins came back great. My B12 was perfect. All of my other vitamins, the only thing that's always been low is vitamin D, and that is most likely actually just due to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome again. There's been a few things coming out showing that we have just a hard time metabolizing it, because I'm outside here in North Carolina all the time. I have tried prescription vitamin D supplements, I have tried just typical vitamin D supplements, getting more sun than I already get, and it never goes up. So it's probably EDS, but otherwise everything's been great. And then also after about 6 or 7 months in, we tracked everything that we were eating and we took it to a registered dietitian, which I highly recommend, because your typical doctor they didn't go to school for nutrition. They don't actually know a lot about it. So seeing not a nutritionist but a registered dietitian is very important. And I in particular went to see a plant-based one because I wanted to make sure that they actually had the knowledge in plant-based eating, since it is a whole league of knowledge in and of itself. So I went to a specifically plant-based one to ensure that she actually knew everything. And she, you know, confirmed that everything we were doing was right. She keeps hitting that camera. So I want to show you guys a before and after photo. I didn't have like any good photos of myself prior, like right before I went vegan. I was pregnant at the time. So I have this photo though. I weighed the same amount, 185, eating meat and dairy and all that stuff. So this is the photo, and that was in November. So that was 2 years ago, but I weighed the same amount there as I did when I went vegan. So again, I want you guys to let me know down in the comments if you want to hear like my full reasoning behind why I went vegan, like for ethical and health reasons. I can do a whole video on that, and why our entire family went that way, and why like our kids are. I can talk all about that. She keeps shaking this, so I'm gonna end it here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you are new, and I will see all of your wonderful faces in my next video. Bye.